We're gonna do everything.
And we're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's David, and this is a special, very special broadcast. We're here with our good friend Matt,
Yes, thank you.
and Matt is a poker dealer and a poker instructor, and works with us at the school at CEG Dealer School, and he's been teaching the next wave of poker dealers.
That is correct, yes.
And how's that been going, sir?
It's been going great. We
I
had
mean-
about 15 students last class,
Yep.
and they all did very well. It was about a 5-week course, and I think they're ready to kind of move on and start auditioning for some casinos.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, a lot of them are trying to get ready. We're going to split this up. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Matt's background, like why the hell is Matt sitting here, right? And then we're going to talk about the dealer opportunity. And for those of you who like to play poker, we get a lot of really great poker questions. We're going to share those. I'm going to ask Matt. Matt is actively a high level. He works at one of the top tier casinos. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to share. You don't have to, but a top tier casino here in Vegas that many of you are probably familiar with. So he's been around a long time. But all right, share with us some of your background. When did you get started in poker?
I went to poker school in February of 2004 in Tampa, Florida.
Wow, 2004 in Tampa.
Yep.
You work for Seminoles.
For a little bit, but not in the poker room. I was
Okay.
a cage cashier, and I realized that the poker dealers were making more money than my paycheck.
Oh, 100%.
So then I was like, how do we go to poker school? So I ended up going to poker school there. My first job was breaking dealer at 2005 World Series of Poker.
Okay, you broke in at the World Series. Okay,
yes.
that happens. Okay.
26 of us came from Florida. We rented 2 houses. There's 17 of us in one house.
This was 18 years ago.
Yeah, I'm 39, so I
Oh,
started
wow,
right when I was
really?
21.
Wow, fantastic. All right, so you came out here, you loaded up on a house.
Yep.
You get into World Series of Poker, which for a lot of people, by the way, when they come here from other states, they think of the World Series of Poker as the cream of the crop.
Yep.
As you have come to learn, that might not be a fair assessment.
Well, definitely is a cream of the crop when it comes to experience.
Yeah,
100%.
okay.
I think every dealer should deal at World Series of Poker at least once. I think it's great on a resume. Plus,
Okay.
you get all the aspects of the largest poker tournament in the world, which is always a great thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can kind of see what would suit you better or what kind of fits you. I mean, there's opportunities for people to maintain in Vegas and get jobs after the World Series, or you can actually go do circuit events around the country, around the world. There's just a lot of great experiences and a lot of opportunities after that.
So did you earn a vest? Did you get your vest?
I actually got a polo. They used to give out polos.
oh, really?
I still
'Cause-
have one of the polos from way back
Because
when.
I've seen the vests, people put them on their wall. That's the big thing. Did you get
Yeah.
your vest? Okay, so you got a polo from.
Yeah.
So let me think. Let me see if. What year was you? What you?
That was 05.
05. Okay. Moneymaker came around in 08, right?
04.
04. Oh, okay. I was
Right
off.
before the poker boom.
Yeah.
That was also the last year that they had the final table at Binion's because the Caesars Entertainment just purchased the World Series of Poker. They had
Yeah.
it at the Rio, and then they moved the final table
Yeah.
to Binion's that year.
They moved it. They started because the Rio was well until its current state was kind of a better on camera. It wouldn't be so much better on camera now because there's some tiles and bulbs that need to be
It's a little
replaced over
dated
there.
of a casino, but it was actually the largest Caesars property that had enough convention space to be able to house it.
Yeah, everyone could fit in there and have fun. You know, it's funny. I met Huck Seed. You remember him?
Yeah.
He was a pre-2000 winner. He won almost exactly, I think, $1 million. He was one of the, and man, it's amazing when you meet these people in person. Now, Moneymaker I've seen, and what's his name opened the Bellagio. Who used to be the young, what's his name?
Stu Unger?
Negrano. Negrano. Right? Daniel Negrano.
Okay, he
Daniel
used to be the
Negrano.
ambassador for the Wynn. When
Yes.
the Wynn first opened up their poker room, he would play
The
anyone
Wynn, that's what it was.
for their
yes.
the money challenge or whatever it
He was
was.
chilling the poker room over there.
Yep.
So I was invited to. I don't think it was a grand opening, but like the very first day. And I remember we were like ushered in, and there he is sitting at a table. I thought it was the Bellagio, but it might have been the Wynn. But anyways, there he was, like talking, and he was behind a thing, and he looked very much like. I mean, he was still young at the time. This is quite a few years ago. And I remember thinking he was like when you walk through the museum and you see people in the displays that have it looked like a display guy.
He looked like one of Madame Tussauds wax figures.
Yeah, like but he spoke and it was interesting. By the way, he's a funny guy. He's a nice guy. I've interacted. I haven't actually said hello but I've heard him talk and I've seen him in spaces. He's really friendly. He's very outgoing. They're not all that way. Some of them are a bit rude.
It depends on where you meet them. If you
Yeah.
meet them at the table where there's, their financial
They're
interest,
focused.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's a
they're
little
on
bit different of a person. But when you see them off the table, most of the people that I've met have been nothing but pleasant.
By the way, I hate to say this, but I got a story about Huxley, but I'm not gonna share it with you. I hopefully this will go out to the poker community.
Mm-hmm.
We had nothing but good things. All right, so you've been around. Wow, that's quite something. So 15 years in the making.
Yeah.
And so you break in and you deal a World Series of Poker, which is for your first big event. Then at some point you become a trainer.
Yeah, so I opened up Caesar's Palace Poker Room in beginning of '06. From there, it was slowing down, so I became a supervisor. And then from there, at '08, I was a teacher for 2 years at another poker school out here in Vegas.
Oh, fantastic. Dude.
And then that's just where I kind
Now
of...
you're with us.
Yep,
Yeah, you came very well recommended, by the way. I got to tell you.
I appreciate that.
I had, it was a bit nerve-wracking. I'll be honest with you. This is, we know table games. So for those of you who are kind of new to this space, and remember, we're going to start on the dealer side. We're going to get to the player side. We're going to ask some really great price because this is a guy who's been around. He knows a lot of the rooms. He's friends with a lot of room managers, that kind of thing. So we're going to get some great feedback. But when it comes to training and getting people ready for these games, it's a very interesting thing. So for us, as a table game dealer school, when you learn how to deal blackjack, for example, it's a pretty linear experience. You come to the school. There's one way we want you to learn, and then it's one game, and you graduate and you audition. You move on another table. With poker, there's kind of a disconnect between you being a tournament dealer working World Series of Poker and then being a regular poker dealer because you don't have to know quite so many games. So we talk about our school, and I'm going to let you kind of talk about that in a second. But so if you call the school, we'll tell you that there's 20 total variations. We say 19, but there's effectively I think 20 variations of World Series of Poker because they drill it down into a lot of different types of games, right?
Yeah, but it's quite intimidating when you hear 20 games. It's basically 3 games.
3 games.
It's flop games, draw games, and then stud games.
And they're variations of those.
Of each ones, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if you know 7-card stud and you know how to deal Raz, then you also know 7-card stud 8 or better, and then 7-card stud high low. That's 4 games right there.
Yeah.
But it's all basically still more or less the same way.
More or less the same way.
Yeah.
You just need to know how to call the hands, how to split pots, and who wins, who loses. That's absolutely a big deal. And so it's amazing because a lot of the course is really just fundamentals, and then you learn the variations.
Correct.
Then you sort of right.
Yeah. Basically, what the course is, like with the new class that we had that started yesterday, I'm going to have them teach. I'm teaching them 7-card stud first because that's going to incorporate everything that you need as a dealer to be able to deal. We're going to move on to Texas Hold'em in a second, which will be an easy breeze once they learn how to read hands in 7-card stud and things like that. Small little tips is dealers not touching the cards when they read them. When dealers touch your card, they automatically think you're going to muck it. So being able to read with your eyes, not with your hands, is very, very important. So the 7-card stud definitely allows that to really get going with the grasp of that. And then and everyone knows Hold'em, so that's kind of a little bit easier game to deal when it gets down to it. But once again, getting the basic fundamentals is very, very important.
Which is great, by the way, because those are true. So those are kinds of the mechanics and the nuances of being a dealer that come into play. So we tell everybody that the opportunity for tournament, there's quite a bit of opportunity. There's quite a few tournaments that play out throughout the year. Very big tournaments. World Series of Poker is over a couple months?
It's about 7 weeks.
7 weeks. Okay, so 7 weeks, and then at the same time, there's competing tournaments. A lot of people will come World Series of Poker and they play some of these other tournaments. There's still time, and then of course casinos want their own draw. Like they don't want Caesars to have all the fun, right?
Absolutely.
So they give people incentive to come here, and everybody just loads up on poker, which is fantastic. And but when you go to get a job, there's 2 ways to go about this. So interestingly, and we're kind of talking about the opportunity a little bit. We have a guy who not too long ago came to the school and wants to follow the tournaments.
Okay.
So he bought an RV, became a poker dealer, came to the school, became a poker dealer, and he literally just gets in his RV and goes around to the WPT, like the regional stuff.
Yep.
And he drives up to parks in the casino, gets hired, and the casinos will hire you for the tournament. They'll scale up, they'll hire you for these tournaments, and then after that, you're on your merry way, off looking
You're
for
on
your
to the next
casino.
one, yeah.
On to the next one. And he's not always employed, mind you, and there's no health benefits. You're basically a contract employee. But you can do this. That's actually an option. Now, if you want to become a regular full-time employee, it's a little easier, right? Because the same games.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it is the same games. Like the casino I work at mainly just prioritizes Texas Hold'em. It's an off-strip casino, and myself, just where I'm with my kids, it just seems to be easier for me to kind of do that. It's closer to the house. I don't have to deal with the strip traffic, things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do miss dealing on the strip.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you see all sorts of different experiences and just different people that you interact with. You meet some really good people. You build a rapport with some people.
Yeah.
But like the locals casinos is kind of where I prefer to be at the moment.
I got there, by the way. I'm with you, man. After dealing on the strip on a number of occasions, I really enjoyed. I ended up. I think my favorite place was downtown because you get a mix of both, and it's not as hoity-toity. It's a little less bougie sometimes. A little less, vomit. People are more serious about their beer down there. You know what I mean? Not so much at the Cosmo. Anyways, all right. So when it comes to being a regular dealer, if you want to get a regular job and not just deal tournaments. Like Matt was saying, Texas Hold'em is like the game. There are other games. Omaha High Low, I think, would probably come in second, right?
Yep.
And then you go down. You can actually interesting. One thing that a lot of people don't know, or some people don't know that come to Vegas is. Casino will, in most cases, you can play whatever the hell game you want if you could find other people that want to play the game, and they'll start a list, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very different as opposed to blackjack. Blackjack, if you're playing against a house, one person can sit down and play for as long as they wish.
Yep.
Well, poker, you kind of need other people because you're playing against the people.
Right,
but
yeah,
I mean, if there's any random game that you wish to play, or if you want to play a mixed game or whatever like that, if there's other people in the room, the casino will spread that game.
Yeah, they'll do it. You got to hit so many people.
Yep.
Okay, so then there's lots of different types of mini tournaments. So casinos, almost all casinos have some kind of daily. Excuse me, what is it called? Sit and go?
No, just the daily tournaments they have. They'll have typically about 2 a day. Like Resorts World has one at like noon and one at 7. They're about 4 or 5 hour tournaments, and you can win some decent money with that. And then that also just helps the casino with the influx of players. Allows the players that get busted out of the tournament to go and hop in the cash games, and then that's where the dealers can make some money as well. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So here, let's talk about the nitty gritty. Wait, do we have any?
Quickly.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna butcher this so badly.
Okay, go ahead. Butcher away.
Thumb and Thorn.
Okay.
Yeah, it was $20. Says this is super interesting topic. Thank you, Mr. Matt and David.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's 2 kind of questions here in the chat. So Scale and Luck gave us what should one want on their resume as a poker dealer?
Oh,
That's very interesting. I can tell you what we don't really need on the resume is any home game experience. With all due respect, there's everyone that has home games that comes out, and if there's even if there's a bar like a bar league that you've done that's basically unsanctioned, then it kind of just means nothing to anyone that's in a casino aspect. You need to have casino experience. You either can get a certification from a dealer school that will constitute as 6 months or the 2 years experience that anyone needs, or you might even just be lucky enough to actually get an audition. And I've auditioned people off the street that have had no casino experience, and they just need a little bit minor works. But it really, having a certificate from a dealer school is really important nowadays.
big. Thank you.
One more question from.
By the way, hey, wait, can we so I don't forget?
Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. So we as a dealer school, so a lot of places you need 6-month experience before they'll give you an audition. And with our certificate, you don't need that. It waives the 6 months. They'll give you the audition. You still have to pass the audition, mind you. But they say, hey, you've been to a school, you've taken the time. We'll let you. World Series of Poker, for example, you normally need 6 months of live game experience. But with our certificate, you can go and audition. You still have to audition.
Yep.
Now, there are 2 casinos in town that, regardless, doesn't matter where you go to school, where you come. If you have not dealt in Vegas for at least 6 months, they will not sit you for an audition. I won't tell you who they are, but they exist. And if you come to me and you say, hey, David, and I want to work here, I will let you know who they are. But there's only 2, and you can imagine what 2 they are because they're up the list. They're pretty top tier. But it's understandable because there's a lot of money and they're just not comfortable. One of the things, even with poker dealers, even though you're a little disconnected, it's not like you being a blackjack. It's not your money. It's the player's money and just handling the rake. And when dealers start seeing a lot of money go out on the table, they get nervous, and they don't want you to get nervous. They want you to be able to command the game, have some presence, and so if you're at the top tier, you need to get there. All right, what do you got?
The second question is from Clint. Said, how do the tokes work for poker dealers?
Oh, we're gonna get to that very next.
And
All right.
by the way,
Give
for
us
anyone who doesn't know what tokes means, it means
tips.
tips.
Yeah,
So
he's
how
asking
do, how
about
do
the
the tips work on your average casino? Yeah.
Tips will work if you do any live cash. So anytime I mentioned down, a down is 30 minutes at a table. That's the standard for any poker dealer to be at a table. They're usually push on the hour, on the half hour, and then they rotate tables. Any live action down that you get, any tips that you get from that down, you get to keep. And then if you ever deal any tournaments, that's going to be pulled. Right? There's a tournament buy-in, say it's $100. They take $20. Of that $20, it's probably 15 for the house, 5 for the dealers. That gets put into a pool, and then if anyone wins, they'll put that in a pool. That will be more or less on your check. And then with the tokes, there's a thing with tip compliance. IRS comes in, they do an audit. They think that dealers make about $13 an hour dealing live cash games. More than likely, you're going to make more than that, but yet on your check, you would see a separate amount for what they think that you made. But you will come home almost every single day with cash in your pocket.
Yeah. So what's interesting. So right out of school, an average poker dealer here in Vegas makes in the high 30s or low 40s, something like this. There are places that do a lot, that do a little bit worse. We try not to send you, and there's some that do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, it's a better straight out of school. It's a better job to be a poker dealer. But the cap on poker dealers can be it depends where you go. There are some houses you can make a really good living dealing poker. It's very comparable to, I would say, almost the top tier. You can't get to the Cosmo money, but you can get damn close. And there's some some California casinos, by the way, where dealers are just cleaning up.
Coming fresh out of school, I tell the students you can make about 140 a shift.
Yeah, 140
and 150, and it's very similar to like a bartender, right? You hand out a drink, you get $1 tip. You deal a poker hand, more likely you'll get $1 tip. You could probably deal at least 14 to 17 hands in a half hour, right? So figure that's $17, that's $34 an hour. That's not too bad for sitting down in air conditioning and kind of just having fun with some guests.
And how often do you get a break? You said every
every like 2 hours or so. I mean, it depends on the rotation.
And you get 30 minutes off, right?
Correct.
That's
yes.
the difference. Because a regular dealer, it's an hour 20, and you get 20 off. So you get a little extra time if you're a poker dealer.
Yeah, it depends on the strings, but typically you would not do more than 5 or 6 tables without a break.
And it's good to be a poker dealer, man. It's funny because if you're a table game, we call it table games, and I know poker for many of you think of that's a table game, but it's the table games department is separate from poker typically.
Yep.
And they have separate managers. There'll be a poker manager, and there'll literally be a table game director. And then there's the shift boss. If there's a shift boss, may be over both of them. But the needs of poker and how the way poker works is so different that it's often just its own little universe.
It's its own department.
Its own department, yeah. I mean, there's some smaller casinos. They loop it all together. But needless to say, it's a very interesting. Okay. So here's an interesting question. So that I have a couple interesting questions. So by the virtue of the number of casinos here, we're considered easily one of the best markets to be a poker dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's other markets, of course. California has some really great poker rooms, and there are poker rooms in other areas of the country that do really well.
Texas is booming, from what I understand.
Texas is booming, poker rooms. Yeah, so there's a lot of money to be made. But let me ask you this. What do you think? So in Vegas, what are the best casinos to work as a poker dealer, do you think? What's the best money or the best?
You want me to name places?
Yeah, name some places. What do you think?
I would say Aria, Resorts World, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, Red Rock, and then everything else kind of follows in between there.
So what about Orleans?
Orleans is good. It's just it's just kind of a grind.
It's a grind.
The clientele there is a little harsher than others, and
Old school.
Very old school. 2-4 limit, Omaha 8 or better.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I have to say with that.
Yeah.
If anyone that plays poker, they kind of understand that. But, poker dealers should have thick skin regardless, but they should not take abuse. But I think that being able to just walk in and enjoy what you do and not really get bothered, I would say that the top four are definitely there.
Yeah.
You know, people are human, and when someone makes a mistake and someone's sitting there ranting and raving at you, sometimes things hurt, and it just depends on how things are handled. And it just, going to a job to where you're just constantly being reminded of how bad of a dealer you are is just
Yeah.
not pleasurable for anybody.
It's interesting. That is so great because that's what we try to quantify. It's not always about the money. It's sometimes just
No.
about who you work for and the culture of a place. One of the that's a great example. I mean, that's just so true. So I had we had the school. We had all the students sort of get together, and I started up. Man, I got a little nervous. It's kind of unusual for me, but so we were kind of talking about the career path, and the career path as a dealer, especially as I'm concerned, it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's really, especially when you're breaking in or starting, it's like literally, is this something you enjoy? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know where you work. I know you enjoy it there because it quite literally has some of the best people I've ever experienced in this business.
Yeah.
And I even know some of your other coworkers. I know the table games director there, and there's some wonderful people. And it's a culture of a place, and other places they get kind of this bad vibe, and there's the morale goes down, toast go down, and it's a very interesting thing. So I agree. Because a lot of people, I run into poker dealers who I have a friend that works in California and does really well. Works a real high limit game, he brings his own bank. You know what I
Okay.
mean? He's one of these, and he makes great money, but he hates where he works because they run it like a farm. You know what I mean?
I mean, having protection from upper management is,
Yep.
is really, really big once you kind of work at other different places. I mean, you only work at one spot. That's not necessarily how it always has to be. You all of a sudden move to a different property, you realize that, oh, wow, this is kind of ran completely different than the other place I used to work at. So, like, I think it just takes a little bit of experience and kind of just what would suit you. But, yeah, money isn't always
Yeah.
the biggest thing when it comes to doing what you love.
Yep, 100%. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Uh,
You have anything, Dennis?
So someone just asked, what would you suggest to dealers that what would you suggest dealers do with players who get braided by dealers that get braided by players? Sorry, that was a
I'm
little
going to
really
ask
worded.
you that, and then I'm going to chime in here. Ready? Go.
It's very easy. Basically, you're going to call the floor.
Bam! Number
Right.
one, only answer.
I got the 3-strike rule, right?
Yep.
If a push a pot and the guy ends up losing a hand, he mumbles under his breath, "Sir, please watch your language." I deal the next hand, and if he's still kind of mumbling, "Sir, once again, the hand is passed. Let's move forward." I'm not going to tell him the third time. Third time, floor, right?
Yeah.
And then you just go ahead. He's not listening to me. Maybe he'll listen to you, kind of a feel.
If you're a dealer or you want to be a dealer, don't be an adversary. Your players are there. You want their tips. You want their goodwill. There's no need to be an adversary. Like Matt was saying, like there's things that you do because a lot of times, sometimes there's, you misunderstand or maybe someone's having a bad day. You see cards get, people get a little forceful with the chips, with the cards when they're not, having a good, whatever they're looking for, right? Things don't work out so well, which is understandable. It's money. It's stress.
Yeah.
Some of these players, especially poker players, dude, when you have your ass in a chair for 8 hours trying to win,
You trying to play for your rent or your car payment, things like
Yeah.
that. People's attitudes will kind of flip on a dime, and
yeah.
understanding that maybe that's just not how that player normally is. And that's why, like I said, poker players are usually cool off the table.
Yeah.
But when they're at the table and there's financial interest, sometimes it gets a little heated.
Call to floor. That's why we love this job. We love this job, and we love being dealers because we don't have to make these big decisions. We don't have to have any responsibility. We can call over the guy with the suit or the girl with the suit and let them be the adversary. I'm never going to be an adversary, even if it's literally on the edge. I'd be like, listen here. Here's this young man or this person over here is having a little issue. You know what I mean?
Once again, we're getting tipped from the players at the table, right? The floors more or less have a salary. So they're supposed to be taking the heat from the players,
Yep.
right? You're basically just going to just direct them and let them know. And basically, by the time the floor comes over, they're going to obviously know who's already upset.
That's it. 100%.
You know.
All right.
What
else?
Thank you.
Ask, what is
That
the
was a good
best
question.
poker room for newbie players in Vegas?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so we're going to get to the player part of this. You ready? Okay.
Hmm?
And we'll start with that one. All right, so if you're new to poker, I'm going to add a little bit of context. We had a couple players here the other day, and here's what they said. We're gonna circle back and answer this one. So the first question is, or the first thing they told us was, they were told to go to this one poker house, but it was all sharks. and they just could not win any money. You know, a lot of local. It was really hardcore, and they felt like they were just thrown into it, and they want to go someplace nice and easy where they could. You know, they don't. You know what I mean? They're not set up to lose. It's not sharks.
Well, it's nothing worse than a new player that sits down and 5 people know each other's name at the table, right? They already automatically think they're going to get picked apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anywhere that has a good mixture, anywhere on the strip, you can't go wrong with being it, right? Anywhere that's farther away from the strip, you're just going to get a more bunch of local players. Now, they're not in collusion with each other, but these people, you know, Bob plays with Jim every single day, so he's going to know how Jim plays, so he's going to stay out of his way. But, I mean, any new poker player, just as long as you feel comfortable, I think that's the most important place.
You know where I send a lot of people? The Venetian.
Venetian's good.
I send them to Venetian Poker. It has a great mix of people. There's going to be there. So I will tell you this: a lot of these strip places become a hangout of a shark will show up, and because it's easy picking, but it's a little bit harder because, like Matt said, they don't actually know who's at the table. They're not. If you go to a place like the Orleans, it used to be the Palace Station, dude. These old guys, man, and there was nowhere to go. It was a really bit of a grind joint. There's a few of those in town, and let me tell you, you think that it's cheap, but muster a little extra money. Go to a strip place. It might cost you a little more. In fact, do it. You know, some of the best ways to get acclimated or even to start playing is one of these. What is it? Sit and go tournament. I mean, what is it called?
Sit and goes are always fun to go, or even just limit poker. Yeah. Starting at limit poker with like a 2, 4, 3, 6 is minimum buying $30-$40.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot and lose a little, and that's most important because if you sit down on a 1-2 no limit game with $100, you go all in the very first hand, you lose, you might not even know what happened. Yeah. But at least in the limit game, to where you're betting or raising increments of 3, you can lose a little bit of money, but at least you get the grand scheme of how it's played in a casino atmosphere. It'll get you a little bit more comfortable at the table, then you can kind of move up to a no limit if you wish.
And and the Sharks, they're not playing limits.
Nope, and they're barely playing the 1-2 as well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of when you get higher in limits is where you kind of need to watch out for.
All right. So I mean, there's a lot of good options. The poker rooms are constantly in flux, but yeah, I totally agree. Anywhere on the strip is a great word to be because you get a whole mix of a lot of tourists, a lot of local players, a lot of regulars. They don't like to deal with the traffic, and again, they won't play limit games. I have a friend of mine who does nothing but, I forget where it used to be. Aria, I think, had like a $60, $65 sit and go, like a daily tournament, no?
Mirage used to do sit and goes. I know that when they had their poker room, that they would just fire it off.
I say that because you could just come in a fixed amount of money, play for a fixed amount of time, essentially, and you had this chance to win, a decent pot, and they're... you didn't have to keep, buying in and, dealing with a lot of other stuff.
I believe MGM has a tournament that's under $100 that their structure is actually not too bad as well.
Yeah.
Best tournament I would probably play would be Resorts World has a 125 at 7 o'clock. That's $2,000 guarantee.
125? Wow, that's fantastic.
And 2,000 guarantee. So if they only have 7 players, it's still $2,000 prize pool. And that structure on that tournament is very, very good. You get a lot of play for that money.
Yeah, by the way, I will say Resorts World's come up in the world. We love, so we have a good friend of ours who is a boss over there, and we started going over there initially, and the food court took him a minute to kind of figure the food court out and get the prices around where the rest of us wanted them to be. But we have one of our favorite restaurants, Brisa, is there. So fantastic Italian food, and I've had a hand pay there on what was that game where I was playing? Dennis knows the game I was on. What was that game, Dennis? Let him know, buddy.
It was Keno.
It was Keno, wasn't it? I'm
Cleopatra?
just letting you know. Oh, it was Keno. Was it? No, it was 20-card Keno, wasn't it?
Cleopatra's my game.
Wasn't it $1,900 or something ridiculous like that?
No, it was 12. It was 12.
Oh
something.
my God! Look at stealing my thunder. We have a lot of Keno fans. I'm just letting him know. We're just gonna throw that in there. Okay. So there's a couple of things. Now, one of the other things they asked me is if I want to see as many pros as possible, where would I go in Vegas to see the Matasaus, the Negranos, like all of these? Like, where does Phil Ivey go on his day off?
Phil Ivey, Bobby's room. Ivy room's at the Aria, right? I think he has his own table back there. If I'm not
really?
mistaken.
Well, that would make sense. We don't see a lot of him, do we? Where does Jesus go? By the way, when I say Jesus, I mean there's a poker player called Jesus. Is he around?
He was around. He came out of hiding a couple years ago for the the group tournament at the WSOP. He had a
Okay.
little problem with the whole full tilt payout thing and all that stuff.
That's right.
So a lot of those
Yeah.
pros that were kind of sponsored by Full Tilt, now they weren't necessarily doing anything wrong. What they were doing, they were being granted a lot of money to promote it. So they just kind of got caught in a little bit of a thing. But Bellagio, Aria, Resorts World, you can see some high limit players as well. But I would say probably those top three:
Those top three.
Aria, Bellagio.
Now,
and,
if they have,
Resorts World.
if you see them on TV, can you run down? Like, can you watch?
You can observe. Now you can observe from afar. It just depends. Once again, these people are playing for money. So would you walk up on a guy that's playing 5,000 on a hand blackjack?
100%.
And then if he loses, go ooh.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would rub it in, dude. I'd be like, listen here, buddy.
You got-
should've
you
done
got-
that
This is just a
differently."
David thing.
I
You
know,
should
that
not
is
do
just
what
a
David
thing. I'd
does.
be like, oh my God, sir, that's gonna make you gassy later. Hey, you know what's interesting is so well, that was a question is because they do have seating, but when it gets down to like the finals, it's literally like friends and family and kind of you can't just walk in and sit down and find a seat. You know what I mean?
Unless it's like the WSOP atmosphere, because then they actually have stands for people.
They
too.
have
They
stands.
cheering sections
But
and stuff
don't
like
you have
that.
to be lucky enough to be in the stands? But you can see where the main game is, right? Because they'll pick a game to be on TV or pick a couple games as opposed to like.
Yeah, I believe that when they go through the draws, they try to probably look for the most interesting ones that are at the table. If Phil Ivey's on a table, he's probably going to be on a TV
The
table.
mouth. You gotta have the mouth. The guy named the mouth. Can you imagine? You gotta follow him.
Masao is he's a very, very nice guy.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's. I always crack up every time I see him.
Really? Because he seems like a bit of a sore loser, no?
a lot
Isn't that
of
why? He's
a
always
lot of
talking
it's for,
smack.
A lot
huh?
of it's for TV.
That makes
The
sense.
more TV time you have for anyone,
Yeah.
same reason why Helmuth is Phil
Phil
Helmuth.
Hellmuth. He's one of my favorites. I found out that he is married. He's married to like a CPA, right? He's
Yeah,
married to
she's
some
a
kind of
psychiatrist
account-
or something.
Oh, a
along-
psychiatrist.
I thought she was a psychiatrist. I could be
Maybe.
wrong, but
Fantastic. But he's got all his money.
he's a very, very good poker player.
A very frugal. Because a lot of these poker players, they don't have all their money. They're out there playing slots with their winnings, dude.
Some they're playing craps.
Huckseat. I mean, did I say Huckseat? No, I didn't mean that Huckseat. That poor guy.
Everyone has their vices, but I can tell you, if people just stick to playing poker, you probably have more money in your bank account than playing table games. Right?
Really? Daniel Negreanu went through a dry spell, dude. But he's starting to make a comeback. He won a big fat one not too long ago.
Even the best poker players probably cash about 27% of the time
Oh, really?
of all the tournaments that they play.
They're that good?
Well, it seems like a low number, but you only really need one or two big scores. Plus, once again, if you're at Negreanu, whoever is on his table wants to be that guy that busts Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, and you're just
Right.
all in. I would be.
Almost.
Yeah,
so
literally.
they play a little bit different, and that's one of the things because I saw frustration.
And he
from,
must know that, right?
He has to, because I know I was dealing with Phil Ivey one year at the World Series of Poker, and that was one of the things he got off. He was like, "You guys just want to be the one that busts me, don't you? You're
That's
calling me
it, yeah.
with 9-5 over here,
Yeah,
just to be that."
9-5.
So he can call his friends back home
Yeah.
and say, "I busted."
I was going for an inside straight, dude. I was working it. You know what I mean? It was anything's possible.
It's your hand. You play however you wish.
Phil Ivey. I have a story about Phil. I have stories. Can I share the stories, or should I just move on? Should we go on to poker? What do we have? Questions?
We do have some
Ah,
questions.
Oh, excellent.
fantastic.
We have a super chat, but I'll get to that after because this
Okay.
is a really good question.
Really?
So
Let it rip.
compressed fart tycoon. That's literally their name.
What's it?
Compressed fart tycoon.
Perfect. We
Says,
have a
I won
fantastic community.
$520 at a poker game,
Okay.
and gave the dealers $50, and everyone at the table seemed to get mad. It was my first time playing live. Did I not tip enough?
You might have tipped too much, man. You might have showed them all up. That's 10%. That's pretty good.
10% is actually very high. To be honest with you, that is actually
You set the bar, and they got
that
the-
is a
yeah.
very solid tip. 10% is a very solid tip. I tip 10%.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm also
you're a dealer.
I've been in the business for
Yeah.
a very long time.
That's a dealer.
The average tip is roughly about 1 to 3%. Once again, I was a payout manager for the World Series of Poker, handling all the payouts, having to ask people if they wanted to tip. The guy that comes in second, they walk in and say, "Congratulations, Sue." You're not supposed to say that because he just came in second.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't come in first, but yet, about 1 to 3%, I would say, is a fair tip. Anything above that, it depends. Maybe you had a good dealer. Maybe you had that one lucky dealer. Maybe you're just generous.
Yeah.
But I think 50 on it is just fine.
Yeah, 10% is great. The only reason they got pissed off was it a bunch of older players because they were like, "Holy crap! Now we got a tip like you, dude. You embarrassed all of us at the same time." I've seen that before. I've seen someone
was
just
the
be
buy-in, too?
ridiculous. Yeah, what
Yeah.
was the buy-in?
They didn't say. They just said that they won.
But he won 5
520.
plus 5. How much? 5 what?
They won 520.
520. Because you know what normally happens? You know that $20?
Exactly.
That's what goes to the dealer, dude.
If he breaks down that other 100, and then that's a super
Sweet
solid. Yeah.
Jesus. Because normally a guy wins like $783, and you're lucky to get to 3.
Yeah.
Or then the 50. Because if you see the color, what they'll do is they'll get rid of whatever the smaller color is, and it's like a mental thing.
Yeah.
And so then they take the big colors up to the thing. You rarely see people just check change and hand in more money. It's just not a thing.
Yeah, you get
sadly.
paid 517 for the dealers.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've cashed out some outrageous people. And I think that I have a story once about a guy who it was literally like, I don't know, he cashed out $78,550, and he check changed the $50, dude. He couldn't even throw in the $50, $78,000.
Well, the thing is that the tipping is a gratuity for a service. It is not. You don't have to tip. So once again, for anyone to be thankful for any tip, it should kind of go that way. Let alone you have to incorporate. Once again, how was his interaction with everyone during that tournament and whatnot? And that's where kind of having the dealers that are poised, professional, right? That have a little bit of personality, but yet not overbearing. That they just all they do is talk. I think all that incorporates. I mean, if a person has a really good time at a tournament, I mean, they might tip you $100. It just kind of really depends. But
I couldn't be a poker dealer. I talk too much, dude. I literally crap dealer, 100%. Poker dealer, because poker players want you shut the hell up and let us
dummy up and deal.
focus. Yeah, dummy
Pretty
up
much.
and deal a lot. They don't mind a little bit of off banter, but if you're rubbing it in, dude, that's the thing. Because you rub it in with poker players, they will pull a knife on your ass. They will, you know what I mean? They will get busy.
I actually-
literally,
what I-
maybe
Maybe
not.
not a knife. Wait a minute. Wait,
I got a story.
Go.
I was dealing with a guy at Caesar's Palace, and
Yeah.
he said he used to deal at the old Caesar's Palace poker room in the 70s. And back then, I guess if you had an argument with the player, you just take it out back. He ended up getting stabbed by the guy.
Oh my God.
No, poker players are serious, dude. They are serious. Can you
Gamblers are serious.
Gamblers
I
are
think that's a fair
That's
assessment.
true.
But yeah, most poker players, they just want the hands to be out, right? They just want the game to be. They're already worried about what they're doing and looking at the players. They don't need to worry about what the dealer is doing as well, and that's just one of the things. And just being properly trained is one of those things that is really, really important, especially when it comes to with money and just handling transaction, whether it's blackjack or poker. They want to make sure that they get paid out on their 6 to 5s correctly. They don't have to worry about that. Plus, also worry about whatever else they have to deal with. So
Yeah, everything else. Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
we
what do
do
you
have
got?
a super chat from LVDJ and gave us $5. Says,
Wow.
Where to go
He better get to
besides
work.
CQ
Yeah.
if you wanted to learn poker without getting your ass handed to them?
I mean, the key is look for a lower limit game, right?
Yeah.
You will get bored to tears after a while, but it's a great way to at least just be introduced to the game. You know what
yeah,
I
I mean, once again, if you're just trying to sit down in a casino atmosphere and play, I would highly suggest it's a fixed limit, low limit, just to get comfortable with how it's played, and then move up to whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, Palace used to have like 2-4, dude. Those guys were there to cash out their time cards.
Pretty
You know
much.
what I mean? It was amazing because that used to be a hack here in Vegas. I could have shared it with you. I can't. It's not a thing anymore. But the strangest thing is, I see this guy. I'm over at the cage with a friend of mine who's a poker player, and I see this guy. He's bumming cigarettes. He's constantly coming over. He's an older guy. He's bumming cigarettes, and I'm like, he's a chairman though. Like, it's the highest rated player at Station Casinos, chairman card. And Bummins, he doesn't have any money for cigarettes because he's been over there at the poker room. And what they do is, because it's a limit game, they just leave their money. They just leave the blind, and they get clocked for all their time.
Well,
so this guy's out getting sandwiches.
It's so funny because when I was a supervisor for the World Series in live action, right, they would get, they call them hot dog tickets, but each player would get like $10 in food coupons, right?
Yeah.
And players would want more than one, and sometimes they would tip us some. The guy gave the guy 2. He goes, "Oh, give me one more." I give him one more, which is total of $30. 3 $10 ones. He gives me $10 tip. It's just, I don't know why, if it's just the free whatever it is, but he basically gave me the exact value for what the
In
other
hot
ticket
dogs.
was. Well, no, it was a $10 food voucher.
Oh,
but
wow.
I gave him 2, and he asked for the third one, and then he gave me
Okay.
$10 for the third one.
Oh,
So
I
he
see.
still only has technically the same amount, but yet I don't know if it's just they want something
where
for
was
free.
this? Was this at Palace?
The World Series of
Oh,
Poker.
World Series of Poker. Wow. It's a whole different. It's definitely a whole different thing. All right. Anything else?
Not that I see right now. If I find something, I'll let you guys know.
All right. I'm gonna share. This is how bad a poker player I am. Ready?
All right.
All right. I'm in California for the first time. I buy in at one of the big California, the biggest, the place with the. I'm not going to name it. We'll let you guys figure it out. But I went there to play Pai Gow. I love Pai Gow poker. Apparently, they have competitive Pai Gow poker, meaning like I'm sitting down at this Pai Gow table, and this guy comes up behind me, okay, and I'm not playing. I'm playing a little bit of money, $50, 100. For me, a little bit of money. Guy comes up, puts $500 on this spot that didn't say a thing. I'm sitting in the chair. I'm playing for about an hour, Pai Gow poker, because they have Pai Gow poker in California. The guy puts up $500, and he tells me how to set my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, why are you telling me? First of all, I'm trying to understand what he's betting. He's betting on the circle in front of my bets. I didn't know you can do that. And they tell me, no, he's betting over you. I'm like, what do you mean betting over me? How do you bet over me? How are you going to bet over? And he's like, and then he tells me how to set my hand, and the dealer takes my hand and resets it the way he wants it to be set. I was so upset, dude.
That's very weird.
And I already have my bet in, but apparently whoever bets the most gets control of the hand. Even if you're in the seat, doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I get frustrated, and I cash out. I'm done with Pai Gow. I move over to my buddies playing poker. I buy in for $100. I don't even remember even what the game is. I don't think it was limit because I went all in at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what I had, but let's just say I lasted 2 hands. And as I go to get up, there's 2 guys say, excuse me, if you're willing to buy in again, we will match your $100.
They want you to stay at the table.
They wanted me to stay at the table. And I'm asking my friend of mine, and I'm like, man, that seems like a good deal. And he's like, don't do it, dude. They know 100% that you're gonna be. They want you to stay at the table, and they're gonna get your money. And that's how. I mean, apparently, I can't conceal my emotions. I just suck. They knew the whole time. I thought I had a good hand. I forget what the hell it was, but I got just spanked. Ever since then, I haven't played. I mean, I stay out. I've won some online tournaments, dude.
Because your face can't be shown, that's why.
That's it. They can't see my face, and I play super aggressive. I'm just literally, I think that's a lot with the online stuff. You just, dude, all in, you know what I mean? Not so much if you have actual money invested, but that's my whole thing. But I'm very excited that interestingly, Matt, and the reason why I have you here, we used to have a poker instructor some time ago, pre-COVID, and then COVID happened, and we have a feeling he might have lost his mind. But we understand COVID was tough for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good poker instructor. A lot of time in. He started up in Washington State, and then the end of COVID happens. We open the school, and he walks in. I don't know what. Always when I'm doing a podcast. Anyways, he walks into the school. He drops his thing. He doesn't say anything to us. He takes his stuff off the thing, and he walks out. And we never hear from him again. And we're not really sure what happened there, but. And no takeaway from some. We've had some other, good poker instructors, because there's one specifically, and he was a good poker instructor as well.
He's very good, yeah.
But you have gotten the most positive reviews in just the last 2. I swear to God, of any poker instructor we've ever had.
I appreciate that.
You know what's interesting, because most people go through the class and they just don't say a lot. If they have a good experience or bad, whatever the case is, they get to go through the class, they get the certificate, and they're on their merry way. We find jobs for most of them, which is great, because that hasn't always been the case. At CEG, by the way, we closed our poker class when we knew we were having trouble getting people into work.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people want to do the class and they just want it in their back pocket for when there's a tournament or they want to go somewhere. But we really, as much as we make money with the class, we wanted to make sure that we had the class when we could get at least some of the people real job, because some people just want to go to work. You know what I mean? And we've been very successful. In the very first week that you dealt this, about 2 weeks in, I literally had 2 dealers sit down with me, and they were very thankful. And I'm not sure. I haven't gone through your class myself. Maybe I should. But you have a very, encouraging way of teaching, which I think is helpful.
Yeah, you have to make it fun.
Yeah.
People can still have fun and learn, and there's times to be serious, but for the most part, me doing kind of the actions that I do is kind of what the players would be doing in real life, except I'm doing it in a more comedic way.
Yeah.
Right? And to get people to be in the box and laughing and enjoying what they do, I think that they the reception's a lot better.
The box, by the way, is the seat you take when you're dealing. That's the box. They refer to that as a box. So the dealer's in the box. All right, so here, let me ask you this. Okay, ready? Let's go down all the variations.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'll get you 7-card stud right out the way.
Okay.
All right, that's 7-card stud.
7-card stud 8 or better. 7-card stud high low. There's Raz. There's Texas Hold'em. There's Omaha 8 or better.
Yeah.
Pot limit Omaha. There's Big O. There's Big Easy. There's Deuce of 7 triple draw. Ace of 5 low ball. There's Baduki, Badesi, Badusi.
There's a lot of the Badugi and Badesi going on. It's like a square dance. Go ahead. I was buying you time.
Pot limit Omaha, and then there's 5-card draw high. And I think that's.
I think you're close. I think you're really
Pretty close.
close.
It's like trying to
There's
name
a
off
little
50 states.
variation. Yeah.
Yeah, Big O is 5-card Omaha.
Yeah.
High low, Big Easy 6-card Omaha. They usually play that when the game gets short.
Yeah.
But once again, you just boil it down to the flop games, stud games, and draw games.
And by the way, if you were into working World Series of Poker, you don't have to actually know all of them. They create a pool of dealers, and they identify early on who knows these other games.
Yes.
So they have like the main pool dealing the main games, and then as it gets sort of drilled down on these fringe games that not everybody's playing, has a smaller crowd, doesn't need as many dealers.
Well, they also have the no limit tournaments that are almost every single day. Like there's like a 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. start time. So having dealers that just deal Texas Hold'em will be able to facilitate those games, and then they can use actually more experienced dealers for the mixed games and for the higher tournaments and stuff like that. And with the World Series, they'll have the ones that only deal Texas Hold'em. I believe that they said that they're going to guarantee at least $15 a down. And if you're going to be doing mixed games as well, you're going to get $20 a down. So basically, the more knowledge that you know, the more money that you can make.
By the way, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it is a lot of money because if you get through World Series of Poker in those 2 months, and you're there for 7 weeks, whatever it is, the minimum is about $8,000.
Yeah.
That you make, and I know people who have made up to $30,000. No, is that correct?
It might be a little high, but you can definitely make, as a poker dealer, you can definitely come out with at least, I mean, if you do it right, you can probably make about $14K, almost $2K a week.
Oh,
in
really?
7
Well,
weeks.
that's a lot high. Okay, well, hey, you know what? But you can do really well, and then again, it's you can have another job while you're doing this. Caesars, they create this pool of 2,000 dealers is what they need for this event. I mean, that's how big it is. It's getting bigger, by the way. Poker is returning to Vegas in a very interesting way. So after 2018, the recession, there were a number of years where sort of poker rooms either contracted or some casinos just got rid of them.
Yep.
And then they came back for a minute. As some of these casinos sort of overhauled their space. So we know we've worked with a couple of them. They added back the poker room. And to be honest, the casinos really, until you get to these higher limit games, they just don't make a lot of money on these grinds, these dollar vigs, low rakes. It's not a win. So they really need to get, and some casinos just don't attract that kind of play. It's a draw, yes, but if you're on the low side and you're a limit game, I mean, what are you drawing? You're drawing a buffet with a coupon. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of opportunity there. But I will tell you this: we know of 2 casinos that are bringing back poker rooms and have been reaching out to us and talking to us about the opportunity of training more poker dealers. So we have 2 tables now. We can train basically up to. I would say 16 people is probably the max, although we try to keep it down to 12 maximum per class so that people
12 to
have plenty of
14
room.
for one instructor for myself would be
Yeah.
the best for me to produce
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
dealers. Anything
Yeah.
more than that I can
Yeah.
do, but yet
Gets a little heavy.
It's a little too much
Yeah,
because
too
once again,
much.
each player or each person that's in class, you need box time. Box
All
time.
right.
Once again, you need to sit down and deal. And if I have 2 tables of 6, you should be able to get at least close to about 45 minutes in box time a day. And just with the more students we have, it's just less box time.
Yeah. All right. What do you think? How's that? Wow.
I got a couple more questions here.
All right.
Excellent.
And by the way, stay tuned because we're going to give away the shirt regardless if you like us or not. Normally, we hold out for some likes, but I don't think we care. Oh, should we ask for it anyway? Anyway, by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this content, hit the like button. And then hang on. We're going to answer a few questions or maybe just one question, and then we're going to give the shirt away. All right? All right, good.
LVDGen asked,
Yes.
do normal everyday cash buy-in games count for tier credits or points?
They do. So they go by the hour. So I know at Caesars Entertainment, you used to get 17 tier credits an hour for playing.
Wow.
Wow,
It's
really?
very specific. That's excellent, dude. People love that. Oh, yeah. The great thing about poker is, per hour. I mean, is it? So what about?
And they usually get like $1 or $2 an hour. I know Resorts World pays you $2 an hour to play, and then that's it. So now with the tier credits, you might not necessarily get tier credits, but also typically you get about $1 an hour for playing. So after your long 8-hour session, you get about half a sandwich.
Yeah, because remember the money you're playing is not it's the rake that they're collecting. That's how they make money, not necessarily what you're playing specifically. That's why they pay you to play. It's a little different rating system. Yeah.
Yep. Very good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Floor Access Sunbro gave us $20. Says I'm a gambler that enjoys sitting around at the table having fun, not necessarily winning. I think I'm in the minority. Great content, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Me and you, buddy. Grab a Keno machine and hang on for dear life. $20. That's all you need. You can play Caveman on $20, quarter machine.
Top row of Cleopatra is my thing.
Oh, really, Cleopatra?
That's
I
my
like
game,
Cleopatra. Oh, we got to talk. We have a Keno episode.
Someone asked, what is David and Matt's opinion on the carnival-style poker games? I think David loves Pai Gow.
Like Pai Gow?
Yeah, I believe that's what he's talking about.
Love pineapple. Pai Gow poker. I love Pai Gow poker. In fact, interestingly, you can actually go for the rule set. So there's some casinos play it more conservatively, some casinos play more aggressively. In California, you can actually be your own banker. They used to. I don't know if you can bank here in Vegas still, but I think you used to be able to. At the Mirage, you could be your own banker, but be prepared to cover other people's bets. But I enjoy Pai Gow because it's a great way to sit around and not lose a lot of money. Realistically,
it's a big split game, right?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just paying a vig on the win. You pay 5%. It's literally a 50%, which is why it exists in other markets. So if you're in a market that does not have what's called Class 3 gaming, where the casino is taking a position in gambling, which is, they're gambling themselves, basically. If you're in California, for example, they only have Class 2, and you're paying a vig. Oklahoma, remember, you guys used to pay a vig, and every time you won, you had to pay $1, whatever the case is. It's Class 2. And those games are 50-50. So it's like bingo. They call them bingo games or Class 2 games. And Pai Gow is quite literally a 50-50 game on the casino floor. And it's thankfully it stayed very popular. So most casinos just don't want to take it out because it's a great place to sit down and spend some time.
And it's a great way to get some free drinks and not lose that
And
much.
drinks, dude. You just hang out, have some drinks, have some fun. I really enjoy Pai Gow myself. If you go to a place that make sure they're very liberal with how you look at the cards, because it's a lot of fun to be able to see other people's cards. So there are some places that do what's called face-up Pai Gow, in fact, where you can see everybody's cards. Because I really love coming with a group of other people and everybody being able to share what they have. They are worried, of course, if you know what everybody's got, you can play into the deal. That's not a thing. But I really enjoyed Pai Gow. So there are some other carnival poker games. Like he's probably talking about like a Mississippi Stud, Let It Ride, those types of games. Those games have high theoretical wins. I will tell you, like, there's a few of those games where you really want to go for the progressive because that's the only bet that makes sense, strangely enough, because you're going to win $1 million. But when I'm all about opportunity, so I tend to. I know we have a few people here that were chasing down a Mississippi Stud game. There's maybe just one of those left. Let It Ride. I used to love Let It Ride, but not so many of those anymore. Do you play any of those ever?
The carnival games, no, I haven't really participated. Even Texas Hold'em in the pits, I've never really even dabbled in. Yeah,
Alex loves Ultimate Texas Hold'em, by the way, and there's a few of them out there. Alex plays a lot of Ultimate Texas Hold'em. He really enjoys it. Anytime he has like an extra $100 to a couple $100, he'll sit and hang out. I don't like it because I feel like it's too much money to have out all at one time and put at risk. I would much rather have Pai Gow. I got one bet. It's so easy. I got one bet, and then I create two hands.
And the dealer can actually assist you in actually putting the hand out, right?
That's it. Yep. Yeah, you can turn over your cards. The dealer can tell you how to set your cards. In fact, if you have an issue with setting your cards, you want them to do that because they'll call foul. If you keep putting the cards in the wrong position, they'll call foul, and then you'll create a problem. But anyways.
Someone asked, during the WSOP, are tokes better during cash games instead of tourney games?
They're about the same. Now, once again, with cash games, you're gonna make whatever it is you make. It just kind of depends on the rotation you go with. You could probably make equivalent to the same as tournaments, but the thing is, the tournaments are guaranteed, right? You know exactly what you're making for that, right? And you can kind of just deal with tournaments all day and kind of just get like an easier paycheck. The cash games are a little bit more mentally intensive and more focus. So if anyone's looking to maybe do like 2 jobs during the summer, if they're looking to WSB and something else. I would even say maybe try to do WSB during the daytime. That way it's just all tournaments, and that way you just kind of get it on your check, and then you can kind of deal cash as you wish. But they're about the same. The tournament downs are typically between $16 to $21 a down for tournaments, so that's about $42 an hour. And then the cash games are more or less about that, say 17 to 20, at least. Yeah.
Here's a good question. Vegas 24/7 asked, how many sessions/classes to complete the poker dealing school to receive certification? Thank you.
It's a 5-week course.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
We nailed it down to 5 weeks. It's about, I would say, 60 hours. So Matt provides direct instruction from 11 to 3. And then we leave the table there. The tables are there to practice. So you can kind of from 3 to 6 every day. And so, so we, so you can put in, how many hours is that? We're open 11 to 6, so 7 hours a day if you wanted to really just, working on instruction and practice. And 5 weeks, I would say 96% of people get through it in that time. There's a few people who we carry over sometimes to the next course for about a week. They just
there's a couple of students that I just would like to see a little bit more practice out of them because they weren't practicing the first couple of weeks. So I allowed them a couple of days grace period before their certification because I want to make sure that everyone is able to pass an audition. I'm not going to send you to an audition if I know you're not going to pass it.
Yeah, well, we do that. Yeah, we're like that with every class, by the way, because it's our reputation. Like, we understand people get nervous, things happen, but for the most part, we want to be comfortable or confident that you're going to pass the audition.
Yeah.
And, poker's interesting. All right, what else we got?
Someone asked, has Matt ever dealt a royal flush?
I have not, but I actually put a royal flush on board. Hand shuffling.
Oh, really?
All 5 community cards was a royal flush.
Oh, really? Holy
I dealt at
smokes.
O'Shea's.
Oh, at O'Shea's? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've dealt I dealt the NBC Heads Up in 2007. I've also dealt Poker Night in America. I've dealt a couple of national TV spots and things like that. And I've dealt a lot of hands, but I've never dealt a royal flush.
Wow, interesting.
Also was a supervisor for about 7 or 8 years of my 18 years, so it takes away from the tables. But yeah, by royal flush on board I did. And 2 straight flushes.
By the way, those are pretty rare.
Very rare. I should have got the money.
Yeah, I know. All right, what do you think?
I think we're good.
We're gonna. Oh wait, we gotta give away this shirt. We said we're gonna give away the shirt. Let's not forget about giving away the shirt. All right, let's give away the shirt.
Oh, caught any cheaters while dealing?
Oh, have you caught any cheaters?
Poker's a little bit different now.
It's gotta be hard, no?
It's hard to prove collusion. When cell phones started getting a little popular, or someone's texting his friend what he had over there, like I have not really caught anyone cheating. Now, I have seen people take advantage of other things. Like the gentleman had a chip stack with a $500 chip on top, and when he pushed it in, he actually pocketed that 500 chip in his hand before he pushed it out, and the dealer pushed the pot over, and the guy was looking for the rest of the remainder of that. So if you want to call that cheating, then yes.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Like extra cards or sneaking cards or anything along those lines, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tougher than people think. The stuff that you see in movies a lot doesn't really play out. What you see is just really bad behavior. People being really jerks and trying to take people off their game. And, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. They'll roll over a bad dealer. That happens a lot. They'll try to take advantage of a bad dealer if that's the case. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, like putting antes in the tournament. Some guy would never put his antes in, and then he'll put the guy's ante that's next to him. You're not sure who did it. This and that,
really?
like small little things. But it's pretty hard to for the most part cheat in a live action cash game, like because there's shuffle masters where we just cut the decks now. We're barely even shuffling anymore. Yeah. So once again, if I could set the deck, I wouldn't be dealing at Palace Station or wherever it would be. I would be dealing in higher limit games where it's more lucrative. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you got? That was a good question. Yeah.
Thank you.
When dealing, what is your biggest pet peeve and why?
Oh, that's a great question too. Wow, we're gonna be here a minute. All right, go. Biggest pet peeve when you're a dealer?
I think that I just say it like this: it's my fault if you lose, but you're the greatest player if you win.
Really? But what about? So I know some dealers get irritated when players don't follow the blind. Like they're constantly have to be reminded to. No,
that's just
not
the
a
nature
big deal.
of it. That's okay. I mean, you could easily turn that over and turn that into a joke or whatever like that.
Yeah,
dude. But when it's just the you're there to facilitate a game, and players, once again, if you lose, this damn dealer never puts the queen of hearts on the river, but then when he wins, he's like, I'm great, and it's
Yeah,
like,
the
I get
best
no credit
dealer
for
ever.
that.
Yeah.
So it's just you're just always on the short end of the stick in a sense, but it's just how people are, and it's not really a pet peeve. It just happens. That or maybe hygiene.
Hygiene.
Maybe hygiene.
Sense.
No, that's true. Especially with poker players. I mean, dude, they just sit there for way too long without seeing that bathroom. It makes me nervous, dude.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than someone that doesn't smell that great that's right next to you because I can't get up
Really?
and go anywhere.
How many guys have you seen diapered up for an event?
Diapered
No. Watch. Here comes the answer. Ready?
I've seen a couple men that have to always wear khaki shorts, pee on themselves.
Yeah.
That's usually after a long night of drinking. But the people come prepared to play.
I mean, ass and seat. I mean, you can't just take off and go to the bathroom, randomly. If you got an overactive prostate, dude, you got to come diapered up.
It's
a little secret. A lot of people are like, what? That's the thing.
I had a guy that was talking, and then he paused for about 10 seconds, and then he was thinking again and talking
Ready
after
to
it.
go.
And within that 10 seconds, he was peeing on the floor.
Oh, fantastic. That's why you got to come with a good diaper, dude. He didn't have the good diaper.
It all
on.
depends.
He had, and that's what I'm saying. You got to come with the depends. You can't come with that washable stuff.
Well, they do it with the
that-
slot machines, too, because they can't get off the slot machine.
No, 100%, dude. Yeah, you got to send, 100%. I don't even want to. I have stories for that one, too, but I'm not going to share them today. This is about poker, positive things about poker. All right, what do you got?
Well, if you want to do the giveaway, you can do it now.
We're going to do the giveaway. Okay, guess what the word is? We're going to call the word poker. We're going to let them start. And then Matt's going to call the end and pick the number. What do you think?
Yep, just
All
give
right,
them a
good.
second to kind of.
We're going to give it because then they're going to basically what they're doing is they're drilling poker.
Okay.
And then you're going to tell him to stop. He's going to stop and then you're going to give him he's going to ask you for a number. And then that number is going to win this shirt.
Okay.
And they're going to hopefully wear it while they're playing poker on national TV at the final table at the World Series of Poker Casino Quest T-shirt. That's going to be their
phenomenal.
lucky shirt.
Yeah.
And we'll have a couple more people come out.
Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier, but there
Uh-oh.
is apparently a student of yours who's at your class right now
Oh,
in the
God.
chat. His name is Robbie.
Oh, really?
Oh, Robbie, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
A couple more things here is. Where did it go?
Robbie's one of my few students that actually has a poker table in his house, which helps.
Oh, really? That is
I told
helpful.
him Tuesday nights at Robbie's house for poker.
And it doesn't hurt if you're going to learn poker. I always encourage. Listen, if you're going to learn craps, take some chips home with you and practice the flipping. Work on your chip control. Work on your hands, stuff like this. Poker's the same way. It takes work. We give you the tools, but you need to practice. And if you feel like you're not getting enough time for whatever reason, if you're having to leave and take off and you're not there, well, then you got to be home and you got to work on these things.
If you
right?
happen to have an ironing board, that's the best thing to a household item. That's the closest thing to a poker table.
An ironing board? Oh,
Yeah.
an ironing board, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have these little. Did we bring them back? We have these things for sale for dealers, by the way, that we made with
shuffle
wood.
pads?
Actually,
Shuffle
rolling.
pad? Oh,
We
okay.
have the shuffle pads. It's great especially for poker dealers. For
Yeah.
you to get to shuffle down, and size and checks. Are they back at the school? Because we meant to bring them back to the
think
school.
they are back at
yeah,
the
they're
school.
back to the school.
Yeah.
But they're available for a sale, by the way. They were handmade. We don't sell them for much. We make them available to the dealers. All right, anything? Are they pounding away poker?
Yeah, they're panning away poker.
All right, you go ahead. Let's put an end to it.
Stop.
1 through 10.
6.
6. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna butcher this too. Omaria.
Which one?
Omaria Durrell.
Durrell? Huh? All right. Well,
I'll
there
tell
you go. Congratulations! You won a T-shirt. Yeah, it's a ring spun cotton T-shirt. It's a next level. It's a fantastic feeling and fitting shirt. You're gonna enjoy it.
This is actually decent quality.
It's a really good. It's like the Bella canvas. They're on the same level, sort
Yeah.
of. So they're ring spun, 100% cotton, and hopefully you enjoy that. Whatever size. You're gonna let Dennis let you know how to reach out to him.
I already sent it in
You're-
the chat.
You already in the chat, and then we ship it out to you. If we don't ship it out to you, definitely remind us because we get busy. Sometimes we forget things. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for joining our school. Thank you for being part of our family. Thank you guys so much. And we're gonna do this again. We're gonna have more poker, more poker chats. All right. We're
Okay.
gonna talk about poker strategy, all that stuff. Ready? Fade to black. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.